Yeah, I mean, hey, please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no time.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Please Remain Calm podcast. I am Ben Gonzalez.
And I am Daniel Gonzalez.
And we are doing our 20th show, a hot Q&A episode, and also going live on the Instagram. I hit a live right there and pointed right at it. They're looking at us. Whoever it is that's watching, as always, we are putting the phone too far away to see.
Yeah, we can barely
really
see you guys.
read. So it'll be kind of crappy with us interacting with the live.
Plus,
just like last time.
I'm 40 and my eyes keep getting worse. I cannot see anything over there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're not as technically sound as we should be with doing live.
20 shows.
Hey.
This is our 20th show, dude.
Right? I think we're the number one show in the country now,
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
In just 20 shows. Pretty crazy.
It was us and Rogan. We were neck to neck for a while there, but we're taking over.
I think he quit.
But pretty fucking cool for something we just kind of, you know what I mean? Popped out of the thin blue air, over the phone one day. Yeah.
And we have been winging it. If you've been watching through the 20 shows, we tinker with the format a little bit here and there. It's pretty much what it is, the whole time. And we are going to get back soon to having people on the show that were fucked up. Because if you're like, hey, you guys have been talking to fucking random people, we want an accident. Yeah, we want a story, a gory story.
You'd be surprised how difficult it. You only know so many people that have had shit happen to them.
Yeah,
so.
And we were hoping we would hit like a zenith, the critical mass, where we had people submitting, injury stories before we ran out of people that we knew.
And we haven't run out yet either.
Yeah,
let's not. Don't let them think that we have a handful of guests, really good guests that we're kind of trying to figure out dates with. Some people aren't really ready to talk, and that's kind of like the touchy thing with this kind of subject matter is like, I don't want to, I know plenty of people that have had shit happen to them. You know what I mean? 17 years on the fire department, 20 years as a medic. I know a lot of people that have had shit happen to them. Yeah. And just being 40 years old, people in our personal lives too.
Period, yeah.
But, some of the most interesting stories, the craziest stories that you could have that would make a podcast interesting are, difficult to talk about to some people, and, or difficult to even think about, to try to remember. It might bring up, oh man, lost a life. Son of a gun.
Or there could be a certain situation tied to the story that's not totally resolved yet. So we've had people that were booked to come on and just canceled the day before. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I can't talk about this.
Yeah.
It's going to be too crazy.
And it's like,
or they're going to piss somebody off.
And it's like, I get it. What can you say? No, dude, we had a scheduled. You know what I mean? You got to come in and talk about this traumatic shit you had. Don't you know our podcast depends on
You'll never do a podcast in this town again. We'll crush you.
So we do have a number of really good guests. And just like I said, a lot of these people are people that we know, that we respect, that are friends of ours, you know what I mean? And you don't want to, I at least I don't, I know Ben doesn't either, want to push or make make somebody do something that they don't want to do or feel like we're pressuring them or anything. But
because a few times would have been cool too. And it's like, what can you do? I mean, we understand. We obviously hit a disclaimer every episode in the hopes that, it's not going to keep us from getting fired.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It really has no legal bearing, but go ahead and
I'm glad you brought it up because the views expressed here today are our own. They do not reflect the views of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
That being said, fuck Donald Trump. So we're doing a Q&A episode right now, or we're going to do that today. I don't know. We thought about different stuff to kind of talk about that was off topic. Maybe we'll get into that,
we'll get into it
later on.
We'll start with the questions.
We'll start with the questions.
We only have so many questions too, so maybe we'll
now I'm getting a phone call. It's not giving me the option to quit the call.
And then we'll get all personal.
I think that's because I was already taping something here.
I wanted to talk a little bit. He's kind of alluding to it. Like I have these. It's funny, man, because I live, my job, the fire department. It's a pretty conservative. We've talked about it before. It's a pretty conservative organization. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A lot of conservative thinking people and stuff, and a lot of good people. It's not. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. You know what I mean? I know a lot of good guys who have that way of thinking.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny thing. I'm kind of a unicorn. Like I'm pretty much as liberal as you can get without being like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like far left, like, you know, a full blown like communist or something like that.
Sensible.
You know what I mean?
When I put it to people, because people trip out that like I'm not a Democrat or anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just care about justice, bro. Like
Exactly,
this
man.
stuff is fair. I don't want anyone to get fucked over and everyone have a fair chance.
Exactly.
That's it.
I just think we should do what's right. That's all. It doesn't matter to me if it's left, right, or whatever. If it's right, if it's the right thing to do, that will help the biggest swath of society, you know what I mean? Or improve society as a whole. That's what I think we should do.
Exactly.
But let's
Hey,
put
let
that
me
on
say
the
I'm
back
not a
burner.
Republican either.
Let's put that on the back burner.
Before people trip.
Maybe we'll get to that. Maybe we won't.
Yeah,
Who knows, man? Yeah, it's just funny because the point I was going to make is I had that conversation at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm a pretty level-headed guy that looks at every situation from all angles, and I base my opinions on facts. You know, that I get from looking at everything.
Yeah.
And so some ways I see where people are coming from. So I like having that conversation with guys at work that are able to have it, you know, to calmly have a conversation. I think the guys that know me, that I've had the conversation.
The thing is do they like having it with you? You know what I'm saying?
I think so. That's the thing. And that's what I think is so lacking right now, and why we're so right versus left, and there's no even like consideration of what the other person is thinking or how they got to that, you know what I mean, that point that they're locked on or something. You know what I mean? Like I it's interesting to me, like, to ask, like, well, why do you feel that way? Like, tell me what, you know, exactly what deregulation are you talking about that's so good? You know, I like sparking that conversation, because sometimes I learn something. It's like, oh, okay, fuck, I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, okay, I get that, but this, you know what I mean? And then when they see I'm open like that, and then it becomes a cool conversation, and we both walk away pretty much the same way we walked into the conversation for the most part.
Yeah.
But at least, you know, who the hell knows, man? If he planted a little seed of thought into the way he thinks a little bit, hopefully I planted a little seed of thought in the way he thinks, and it must be beneficial, because these guys, when I see them again, we can have another conversation. You know what I mean? Another politically driven conversation or something like that, or on whatever social issue, whatever. Again, you know what I mean? Something different, have the same kind of constructive conversation. So if we get into it, you know, I mean, we already got too far into it. If people aren't tuning in
You got
to
10
hear that
minutes
right
left.
now, but anyway.
Yeah, all right. I know it's like it's a separate podcast we could have, but then it's just a whole other category. Of shit, you know what I mean?
You know,
we kind of tip the lid on that once in a while, but we gotta, you know,
if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen here in this Q&A. Where we're, I mean, basically this whole thing that we're doing right here is just to kind of like give you guys a glimpse of how like we are in general, you know, and kind of give us a way to interact with you a little bit, hopefully with the live. Because we want to be here for a while, and we want to do this. We do enjoy doing it, right? And you know, the better relationship you can develop with an audience, the better it's going to be. Yeah,
if we bother to read what anyone's saying on the live. So let's take a question here. Here's one we have. We always hear about your dad. Are there any plans to interview him?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, since the jump, the thing with him is that he has all of our grandparents living at our house, and they are all over 85 now. Yeah. And they are all at different mental faculties.
Yep.
And he's basically their wrangler. He's like responsible for all of them.
And it's like, before the pandemic, at least we could go by and, you know, stay for a night and like take care of our grandparents or cook for them and be there in the night for whatever they need. And my parents could have a night out, you know what I mean? Or me and Carlos would go by and do that too. Then the pandemic hit, and it was like, you know, we're all in EMS. You know what I mean? Carlos works in the our little brother Carlos works in the ER, and, you know, doing X-rays and stuff like that at clinics. Yeah. So it's like, if we're gonna get exposed, we definitely don't want to bring it to the one house where all three of our grandparents are.
Yeah,
together,
you know what I mean? All the time.
Yeah. So it basically just came down onto my dad to handle that. And then it's funny too, because my mom, you know, our mom's there too, but that old school, you know what I mean, way that our grandparents are, like my grandpa only feels comfortable with my dad helping, or me and my brother, one of my brothers, doesn't want a female in there. And, the same with my, our grandma feels the same way.
Yep.
So it's weird. It just puts a lot of pressure on my dad. And so that's kind of why, really he just can't get away for an hour to come and do the podcast. But
he'll come on eventually, and he, people ask about him for a reason, and guests will talk about him that know him. He's interesting.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude. He's pretty funny. He's got a lot of stories, and pretty much any firefighter that's older than me that we have in here knew our dad.
Yeah.
Either worked with
Knows him or heard of him.
Or heard of him, yeah. He was really well known on the fire department. He's a really, really good engineer and went to a lot of big fires in the 80s and stuff like that. So you'll hear about him a lot, and hopefully, as soon as we're able to, I think it'd be a great idea to have mom and dad in on an episode to talk about, like, fire family, like what it's like to be a fire wife, what it's like to have your son get on the fire department, the stress with that. So,
yeah, because our mom's a trip too.
Yeah, she's got a whole story too.
Yeah, she's super interesting. So that could be like 2 shows.
Yeah, man. A 2-parter.
Yeah.
Ooh, our
we'll
first
get
2-parter.
To that. We'll get to that.
That's what I'm talking about, bro.
Cliffhanger.
Fuck, I feel like we're a real show.
Yeah.
A real show. What is our logo?
It'll still be on the screen. Yeah. Another question here. Even with our disclaimer at every episode, which we think absolves us, fucking doesn't.
In court, it may. I don't know.
Does anyone at work ever give you grief because of things that you say on your podcast? Well, I have been told that I kind of disclosed too much inside information before.
Oh, really?
In the first episode, maybe.
Oh, really?
We did like the COVID breakdown.
Right.
And that also, as a representative of the county EMS system, I shouldn't give opinions as to how good hospitals are versus other hospitals.
Yeah,
things
I
like
can
that.
see that.
But fair enough. But am I speaking the truth?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I could use like the actual designations they give for these levels of hospital, other than good and less good.
Yeah.
But it's not even like based like on my own personal opinion. Well, it kind of is, but it's also just on just the amount of like just services and what they have available. They're just not all the same. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
That's just the way the system's set up. There's hospitals that are smaller hospitals that will feed into bigger hospitals that have, more services available to help people that need it.
But did you get in trouble? You just got a talking to?
Nah, not even like
light
really
talking
like
to?
not even like really a talking to. Somebody else who was a guest on our show who works with me that always listens.
Yeah.
A friend of his that's in HR had listened and said, "Oh, maybe that could be a problem."
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But nothing has really come up, and I'm even still wanting to. My boss retires in a month, and I want to get him in here to do one before he bails or when he bails.
Yeah.
Because then he'll be more free to talk. Because that was the dude that I was telling you was the Vietnam medic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got crazy stories, bro.
I feel like I'm slightly flying under the radar with this podcast as far as the department's concerned. But I'm probably not. I mean, I'm I run my station's Instagram page as well. 63X the C if you want to look it up. But if you
by the sea, not like ecstasy.
Yeah. But if you follow the podcast, you follow me, you probably already know that. And so, but as an administrator on that account, I had to go through a social media training with the department because it's technically an official department account. And before that, I posted pretty regularly on my own social media, and the department followed me and stuff like that, and they'd repost some stuff. So. Kind of on their radar with social media already, so I have to assume they know about the show. I mean,
we have a lot of listeners who are on the department, so it's just going to spread.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I don't think I've said anything that would, you know what I mean? I feel like I don't think we've said anything that would get us in trouble. I mean, I curse a little bit, but mom already yelled at me for that.
Pretty much.
My mom pretty much chewed my ass about cursing too much. So I'm trying to cut back on that for my mommy's sake because I love her.
And I noticed too after she said that, I notice every time that we curse, or we post our clips, and our clips will have the subtitles, and the subtitles will say shit.
Yeah,
shit,
fuck,
shit.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any backlash. There's a lot of guys that listen that I know are listening. Thank you guys for listening. Spread the word at your stations if you enjoy it. But I've gotten feedback from different guys, and nothing negative so far. So, fingers crossed.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
How do you think the Department of Health could be improved in California? Well,
that's a big
there
one.
are a lot of ways, but here's the thing. The problems with the Department of Health in California are kind of like they're more reflective of the problems with healthcare in the United States in general.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that need to be improved for everybody in general that could then take place in California. As far as the system itself there, it's actually a lot better than a lot of other states.
Yeah.
A lot of other places in America. We have a lot of great services. We have a real good cooperative, way. We're very organized. The EMS system is great. The disaster management system is great. Nobody's really like left behind. So
improve national standards across the board.
Just
will
in
raise everything.
general,
Yeah.
because the bullshit we have to deal with, is more dealing with the different types of insurance and getting approvals and just all that red tape stuff.
Yep.
That makes it like impossible to move some people and easier to move others. And it's not always just based on the severity of the patient, which it should be. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's true across the country, and that's just the way that the healthcare system is set up.
Yeah.
So when they give you that bullshit about, they're going to kick you off your private insurance and everybody loves their private insurance, like, no, dude, like that's pretty much what the system is now. And it'd be much easier if we didn't have that and it was just one system for everybody. And all that mattered was the severity of the patient. This is what they need. This is why we move them over. And it can happen, in an hour instead of just having to wait to check with the insurance, see if you get approval, see if they'll authorize, see if the doctor will accept that, and if we can get space for them.
All that unnecessary shit.
Yeah, but again, that's not
Stuff.
That's not limited to California.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Yeah.
And once it changes everywhere, it can change in California as well.
God, it's like the questions want us to talk about this shit anyway. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
These damn issues.
Yep. And then here's a fun one that you write an encyclopedia about. What are the risks of being a firefighter? How much time do you got, buddy?
Well, there are the obvious risks, right? It's a dangerous job. I mean, you're fighting fire.
Falling in a roof.
Well, it depends. It
Breathing
really
in
depends
smoke.
what job. Really depends what job you're doing that day,
Yeah.
right? Because especially with the big department like LA City, there are hundreds of jobs within the department. You could be a mechanic, you could be a helicopter pilot, you could be on a on a brush team, you could be on an engine company, you could be on a truck, you could be on a boat,
Yep.
you could be a diver. You could be riding a horse in the hills, the horseback guys that go
that's
looking.
right. Yeah.
You could be in a brush patrol pickup truck driving up there. So each one has its own individual risk to it. We just had an anniversary of the helicopter that crashed.
Griffith Park.
Yeah, I wish I had all the numbers in my head right now, but they were
There was
transporting
4 people, right? The 2 medics, the pilot,
the pilot,
and the kid.
and the little girl. Yeah. They were transporting a little girl from a traffic accident in the valley, trying to fly her over to Children's air ambulance, and their tail rotor fell off, and the helicopter crashed. So there's a risk there. We've had at brush fires, during a brush fire, not with our department, but with other department, guys driving in a brush patrol to try to go and made a wrong turn in the smoke and drove over a cliff.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
right.
what I
It
mean?
was county, right?
So that's a risk. Divers that go down in the harbor, all the major ships that come in, they have to have the holes inspected down there. There's all kinds of risks that go along with diving.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get into, engine company, engine work. You're going inside on a structure fire. I mean, what more dangerous?
Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah.
possibly as dangerous as being on the roof, but you're in a building filled with smoke, so if you run out of air, you take this mask off, you're going to die of breathing the smoke. You can't see anything. Sometimes you can't see.
You get lost.
Yeah, sometimes you can't see your hand in front of your face, and you're going by feeling the doors and just feeling the walls and following the walls around and trying to find the seat of fire. And sometimes you don't see anything but black until you actually find the fire. You know what I mean? And it lights the room up. And then you have the roof, and it's like you're up there, and how long has that fire been burning?
Yeah. How strong is that roof?
How strong was the roof to begin with? You
Yeah.
know, what type of construction are you standing on top of? What kind of equipment is on top of that roof? You know, do you have a plan of, you know, how you're going to escape? Where's your escape route if the roof starts to come in? You know, where did you sound out? You got to follow that way back because you know that's that way. You know what I mean? There's 100.
We had a whole episode with that where the guy described that shit going down.
And then, you know, you go to what I do every day, you know, the rescue. What are the risks there? Well, we all run the risk when we're responding of getting into an accident, right?
Yep.
A lot of, you know, sometimes people ask me, why do you have your siren on at night and different things like that? It's like, that's to warn you guys, you know what I mean? So we don't crash into you. But, you know, you have, sometimes you pull up on scene and you don't know what you're getting into. It's an assault in progress or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
A shooting, you know, people come by and shoot again, you know, at the scene, stuff like that. We just had an incident. So maybe a week ago, there was a shooting at the end of Washington in Venice. Bar fight in front of the Cabo Cantina there. The Cow's End, by the way, shout out to the Cow's End. Used to hang out there.
The Cow's End. I was banned from there.
Yeah, you
remember?
were. I do remember that. You threw up all over the place.
It wasn't all over the place. It was the sink. I smoked a cigar and I inhaled the cigar, like too much of the cigar.
He goes, bro, what is up with your brother?
I act in the sink. Yeah, banned. That was the first bar I was banned from.
Yeah,
man. I don't think I was even 21, and I got banned.
So we had a shooting there. You know what I mean? That's like a party area. I mean, it's a kind of high end too. You know what I mean? Like higher end crowd in Venice and stuff like that. Shooting. And then 2 days after that, I was on duty just a couple days ago. We get an assault, and the information that we had was that this guy was assaulting this woman on the sidewalk, and LAPD still hadn't gotten there yet, and so it's like, you know, we had to make a decision of whether we're going to go in, because usually we hold back and wait for PD to clear the scene, you know, and then we hear this guy still hitting this girl, so there's 6 of us, you know, on the rescue and the engine. I think we could stop a guy from it. Yeah. So we go in and stop it, but you never know what you're going to pull into.
Right.
What if we pulled in there and there was a brawl going on like a couple days before, and someone pulls a gun and shoots?
Yeah.
You know, that's happened before.
Yeah.
We've had it. You've had it different departments where, and it actually happened in LA City once. Somebody suicidal, set their house on fire, and they're sitting there with the gun. Fire department shows up. They're shooting at the fire department.
Yeah.
So what are the risks? Okay, hold on. So let me take it a step further.
Yeah.
Those are like obvious physical risks, right?
Yeah.
But what are the risks of you know, sleep deprivation for 15 years, you know, and getting jolted awake by lights and a siren 3-4 times a night,
just not having any sleep circadian rhythm at all.
I mean, even right now is a good example, dude. I just got off a 48-hour shift. Last night, we were up all night, and I get home this morning, and I had stuff. I got a physical this morning. We got a couple podcasts to do. So I'm up, you know what I mean? And it's like my body's used to that. My body's used to operating on a little bit of sleep, but, you know, eventually I'm going to crash. I'll crash out, and then I got to get up and go to work tomorrow again. So my clock is all screwed up, and you read about how important sleep is.
That's a
to your health
number one thing that I don't miss about being on rescue, man.
It's the worst, dude.
Basically, because now it's been like 12 years where I've been out of there. And like, you just sleep in your bed every night. Not that I always have like a regular sleep. So like I wake up for a fucking hour, middle hour, wake up at 6 every day, no matter what. Yeah. You know,
even when I'm home, it's like, I'll like Bernie will knock out at 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'll be up till, you know, midnight, and then I'll crash out. I'll wake up at 2 and just be awake and like, shit, man, flip it through my phone. I'm up from like 2 to 3 and then fall back asleep. You know what I mean? It's all screwed up.
Yeah.
On top of that, let's talk about PTSD, you know, and the stress that goes along with all this shit that you see
and everything. Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, it's a real thing, man. Plenty of guys on the job have it. I was diagnosed with it a while back, and it's just something I kind of deal with. You know what I mean? I've learned ways to cope with it and stuff. But I mean, you work in a place like, you know, I worked Skid Row for 3 years, and then, you know, I worked South Central for a few. So I can't even tell you how many shootings, you know, assaults up there, stabbing, stuff like that. I mean, seeing people shot like that, like I would compare the things that I have seen to a soldier. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I've seen that much trauma in my life. and people react differently to trauma, and people react differently to PTSD and stuff like that. So who knows? That's a risk too, man. All the stuff that you see over, accumulative over the course of a career.
Yeah.
But
you're not supposed to be a witness to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's basically all it is, man.
big question.
Hope we covered that enough. All right. This one, I don't know about this one, man. Why is the LA City Fire Department viewed as not aggressive compared to FDNY? I never really heard that before. At least compared to other departments on the West Coast, because I don't know the reputation necessarily of New York.
Yeah.
But LA City is the aggressive department. LA City is the one that goes inside, the ones who attack. You know?
You're talking about two different departments with two different types of buildings that they fight fire in mostly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A whole different setup.
New York, man, the buildings in New York are ancient. You know what I mean? Like they are old.
And they're tall
They're
as shit.
thick walled. Everything's tall. So New York operates, and you got to understand too, the New York Fire Department's been around a long, long time. And so they've developed their system of fighting these fires, whatever their system is.
They have different equipment too.
Completely
they have different ladders. What do they have? Tower ladders?
Yeah, dude. They got. We're talking about apples and oranges as far as tactics and equipment and stuff like that, but also the type of occupancies that we go to. You know what I mean? So to say that LA City's not as aggressive as New York, I would disagree with that. I think our department is very, very aggressive when it comes to fighting fire and trying to get at the seat of the fire. And then you compare it, but then it's hard to compare the two. Like, and I'll use the example of us versus LA County Fire. LA County Fire is a little bit more. It's not quite as aggressive as LA City as far as like getting inside, getting to the seat of the fire and stuff like that. Like
when we're saying aggressive, we mean when the fire department shows up to a fire, the fire's inside the building. They make a decision on if they're going to go inside the building or not and look for the fire and fight the fire in the building or just squirt water into it pretty much from the outside.
Yeah, and typically we're trying to get inside and find the fire and put wet stuff on the red stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And certain situations call for different tactics, but typically the LA City way is to force entry into the building and essentially try to locate the seat of the fire. And you don't start squirting water until it's either too hot, you need to cool it down a little bit by penciling the ceiling, or you find the seat of the fire and you put water on the fire. Squirting smoke gets you nowhere, okay? All squirting smoke does is create water damage for the occupancy that you're in. And then while the engine company is in there doing that, the roof team is on the roof. They're cutting little inspection holes and different little indicators that will help them show where, and they're in communication. Right. Okay, so the indicators will help them show hopefully where the fire is in the building. Hey, we're heading back toward. It looks like it's in the BC corner of the building.
And when you're saying an indicator hole, that's like the little triangle cut.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Or they'll do they'll just dip the blade all the way through, in and out, just so you can see a little smoke.
Up.
Yeah, a little smoke indicator. If it's puffing really, really hard over here and it's getting lighter as it goes away, as you're coming along, it seems like then the fire is probably over here where the smoke is most pressurized, And they're communicating with each other.
Right.
Hey, what do you guys got in there? Hey, we can't find the seat of the fire. Okay, it looks like we're getting a lot of heavy pressurized smoke. I'm gonna cut a hole over here. Hey, we open up this hole. We're getting some pressurized smoke, little flickers of fire. Okay, where are you? We're in the BC corner of the building. Okay, and that kind of gives and then maybe the building's partitioned off and that engine company can't get there. Hey, we're hitting a wall here. Okay, well, we got entry on this B side of the building, and then it's a completely different business or something like that over there. So LA City's pretty aggressive like that. We like to get in and communicate, and while we're doing all that, another truck company's coming with salvage equipment and getting all the furniture in the center of the room and covering it with the tarp, you know what I mean, and trying to salvage whatever we can inside the building from getting water damage and stuff like that. So I liken it to a playing football. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got
their assignment.
Everyone's got their assignment, and it's cool when it goes down like that. Doesn't always go down like that. I mean, shit happens at fires and things go bad. We saw that at the Boyd Street incident, with our boys from Nines. But for the most part, we practice every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so that when we do get a fire, and we inspect the buildings in our districts. You know what I mean? We pre-fire plan buildings that look like they might be a problem.
Yep.
We train constantly, man. We're always, especially now that we got a lot more rookies coming on and coming through. We're always training and throwing ladders and taking rookies to buildings. Hey, what are we going to do here? So chances are, if there's a fire in your building, we already have a plan, and we've already been inside and know what's going on in that building when we get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pre-fire planning it.
Yeah. Can't really get caught by surprise by anything.
Oh, sorry.
And then the other
Sorry.
thing with that too is, like you're saying, like it can still go bad at times when you're talking about the Boy Street incident. But even with that, the system is so tight that even with it going bad, it still goes as good as it can for going bad. Like
Yes.
they're able to account for everybody right away. You still know who you got to get out, who's there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then everybody's, got to the hospital right away.
And I was trying to kind of compare. Like LA County has different tactics for how they fight fires, right? But they also have 3-man engines. We got 4-men on our engine. So you're talking about different departments with different, different numbers of people on their rigs, different equipment and stuff like that. So it's hard. It's really hard to compare the two. Yeah. Even to say LA County is not aggressive, I don't think is fair. You know what I mean? Like LA County encompasses a huge swath of area. Yeah. It's a very, very large department, and they see a lot of fire. You know what I mean?
Ton.
And so
every brush fire that you see, pretty much they're the ones that are jumping on
exactly,
it and
man.
all over it.
They're all over it. So and they're the lifeguards too. LA County covers the lifeguards. So it's really difficult to compare when you to compare a department's aggressiveness. You know what I mean? Because they're working with a completely different set of rules.
Because that's the thing too, they all have to adapt to the area they serve. Basically, it's the same thing with big departments, small departments. They all have their own plan, their own system, their own style.
Yeah.
More questions. Have you ever had a shift where you got no calls? I sure have.
Yeah, you have.
Yep. But that's only working private ambulance.
I have too, though. I went. So Fire Station 57 is a pretty busy spot in South Central where I worked at. I never went the whole shift without a call there, but I went till about 10:30 at night. We had one run and then didn't have another one the rest of the night. Occasionally it'll happen here and there at different stations that you work at.
So you mean like not one for the night?
Not one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just
but not for a 24 where like you didn't have any runs.
No. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I came on.
And that can happen at places.
Didn't have a run until 10:30 at night. I had one run and then didn't have another one until I went home.
At 57s?
At 57s, yeah.
On the rescue?
No, on the engine.
Oh, on the engine.
One time that happened.
Okay.
But the engine's
the engine's
just
super
as busy
too,
as the rescues. But that will happen at different, especially in different areas of the city. You know what I mean? Like that are slower, like the slower retirement stations. I mean, some stations like where I went through the drill tower 40s on Terminal Island, you'll look those guys up and they'll be, the last time they, punched up was when they went into quarters 4 days ago. Yeah, like they'll just stay there and cook and they won't catch a run because it hardly ever happens.
Down there, yeah.
I picked up a sod day there once when I was working in 9s.
At 40s?
At 40s, yeah. It was back like when I had like
this station 40 is like in the harbor in LA in San Pedro. There's nothing. There's no houses or any.
It's an industrial area. It's
ships and shipyards.
It's they run very, very, very few calls, but it's so separate from you have to take the Vincent Thomas, start to get on the Vincent Thomas Bridge to get there. You know what I mean? It's like that they have to have a station there to cover because it's part of LA City. But I got a saw day there once back when I had like 3-4 years on the job. There was a period of time where we had just a ton of vacancies. So you'd wake up in the morning, you'd look on the front door of the front office, and there'd be like 2-3 pages of vacancies, and so you basically just pick where you wanted to work, and so shoot, 40s, I'll go work over there. So engine 40, I drive down there, and I before I leave, I look them up. Same, like I said, they hadn't left the station in 3 days and stuff. And so I get there, I'm thinking, this is sweet, man. I've been working 3 days at the 9s and go down to 40s, and get a sod day and relax a little bit. And as soon as we get there, dude, freaking hazmat incident at the harbor. A hazmat incident at the harbor. Some big metal box. Nobody knew what it was. It's like there's smoke coming out of it. Yeah. So hazmat's there puffing, and I'm seeing, we're in full gear, suited up. I'm holding a hose line. I'm just like, holy shit, I can't believe this, dude. I'm ready to pass out. And then they go, we don't think it's anything explosive. We're not getting anything. So we're gonna cut the top off the box. And so everyone looks around. It's all old timers out there, man, like retirement dudes.
Nobody's
and I'm
cut
like,
anything.
yeah, and I'm like 2-3 years on the job, so I'm like, I'll do it. So this box is like huge. It's like 7 feet. It's like 7 feet square, cubed, and I don't know geometry. And then so they wanted me to cut just the top off. So boom, here I am cutting through this thick gauge, just what I mean, all the way around, shoulders burning. I'm just like, 40s, dude. You know what I mean?
Kicked you in the ass.
Yeah, kicked me in the ass. So the one time I get a good day there.
When I first got my license, I worked private medic, APT ambulance, right? Yeah. They were the backup for all the South Bay departments. Yeah. So the South Bay of LA, there's Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, right? They all have their own fire department they each has like one rescue. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. So if that rescue gets a run, they don't have a rescue, so we were like the rescue. If any of those cities had a run, we were the backup. Oh, and El Segundo. Yeah. So we're the backup for all of those. So they had to give us a station in the South Bay because the company was based in Inglewood, and Inglewood was too far, right? So they couldn't find anywhere, so they had us in the Residence Inn, right behind El Segundo Station 2. So where Hughes was, basically like Sepulveda and El Segundo Boulevard, right? And so.
Just at the hotel chilling?
Two-room suite. So you had your own bedroom with your own bathroom. We had a kitchen. There was a maid that came in and cleaned the room every day and did the dishes. Yeah. And they put the dishes in the dishwasher and do the dishes.
Did they have a pool?
Right? Yeah. Pool, tennis court, fitness center, right? Damn. Then 4 days a week, there was a free dinner buffet. Yeah. There was a free breakfast buffet every day. And there was every night there was like a keg of Michelob and like a bottle of red and a bottle of white. Damn. That was complimentary for the guests of the hotel, right? And our company had to have us there because there was nowhere else to put us that was close enough to like honor the contract. And there'd be days where I worked at 48 once where I had no runs, dude, because they couldn't pull us out of there because we were obligated to be there. But those departments were already slow. So if they were covered, if they were covered, then we didn't do anything. Yeah. And my partner, who's
did you have like your own clothes in the drawers,
dude?
Like your
you
own
could
chonies
just chill, dude. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You could just chill. Like it was like you just were paid to be at a hotel and kick it.
That's kind of what it was like when I worked for McCormick. When I first got my paramedic, and I worked for McCormick, we were backup paramedic for Redondo Beach Fire, and I think they had 2 rescues, and so we just kind of hung out. Same deal. We hung out at the North Redondo station. Until we got a call.
I remember that one, the one by the mall?
Yeah. Well, it was by the mall, So we were just like hang out, and they wouldn't use us for IFT, for interfacility transfers.
Yeah, because they got to keep you there.
Yeah, because they got to keep you there. And so we just, show up to work. It wasn't even work, man.
Yeah. we would just work out. We go to the beach.
I'd come in, fall asleep for a little bit. We'd go to Norm's, get some breakfast, go see a movie, at the mall, be at like what was that? A Sharper Image, buying animatronic monkey heads and shit.
My partner at the time, he's a Cal Fire guy now up north, right?
Yeah.
He lived in El Segundo, so he would come and punch in and just go home. He'd just stay home an entire shift, dude.
Yeah. That's funny. Those were the days, dude. Man. Yeah. Those were the days. You can't do that stuff now. Sorry. Yeah,
exactly. All right, another one here. This guy has scored 100 on his interview multiple times, he says. So what can he do to pass backgrounds? It's kind of hard to say because if you've already passed multiple times, then I'm assuming you failed backgrounds before.
Well, hold on. Not necessarily, dude. Oh. Because hiring has been so weird over the past few years. They're doing these like groups of people that are going through, you know what I mean? So like you'll get 100 on your written, and then you could move forward and be given a background packet, but then you could be put, you know what I mean? They might only take a certain number of group off the top of these people that were given a background packet to move forward. And then they're doing everything they can to like get those people to move all the way forward in the process. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're like before when I was going through, if you passed, you got an interview. If you got 100 on the interview, you got a background check. You know what I mean? It was like dirt. Now it's kind of everyone. It's hard to say if you're in the right group or if you're in the group that got moved forward or if you're still in holding in this background group. You know what I mean? It's just the way they're doing it now is so weird. The other thing too is who knows what's going to happen in the next year. Like typically the classes, academy classes, they're all budgeted into the city's budget every fiscal year. You know what I mean? And so you're budgeted for however many 6 classes this year or whatever it is. Well, that money's already there. So like the classes are always going to go through. But then the entire world shut down. You know what I mean? And everybody's broke. Yeah. And the
who knows how the
broke,
budget's going to be? Yeah,
and,
exactly.
We all just renegotiated our contracts. LAPD renegotiated their contracts and stuff, or their new contracts, and they're signed contracts. But it's like, if there's no, you know what I mean? There's all these.
Yeah, the city
different.
Wants to furlough.
Yeah, the city wants to do all these things, and who the hell knows what's going to happen with hiring? Who the hell knows? I'll tell you, we need it. There's a lot of guys that are promoting. There's a lot of guys that are retiring.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are that might have hung out for another couple of years that are retiring because of all this shit that's going on. You know what I mean?
It's the same with us, man. We got all these vacancies, and then it's like we're barely starting to interview people now. But then that's the other thing too is like we flipped everything in our department because of COVID.
Yeah.
And like our response to everything. So even if you start now, like I don't even know what we're supposed to train you on or what you're supposed to learn, dude. It's like the world, everything's different now.
It's
dude.
So all I could say, man, is don't stop trying. You know what I mean? Like just if you already got 100 on your oral, you know, or if you pass,
you must be in good shape.
If you pass the written and you got
oral.
100 on your oral, you're doing well. Just keep trying. Don't limit yourself to just LA City. You know, obviously, even though it's the best department, don't limit yourself. You know, we had PD in here, his episode last week, where he talked about testing at 40 different departments.
All
you know,
up and down the state.
Get that experience testing everywhere. And
but as far as like passing your backgrounds, like it's kind of weird to like give advice on that because you kind of already did what you did.
Exactly.
And they're going to find what they find.
I would say be honest.
Yeah.
You know,
be honest about what they're going to find.
Yeah. There you go.
Because I worked with the guy who always got washed out of backgrounds for PD. He wanted to be a cop, right? And he would tell him too much. Like he would go too far. Like I'm like, dude, you don't have to share that story. Like they're never gonna know about that, dude. Like you basically are shooting yourself in the foot for your own background.
Yeah,
all the time.
there
you know
is.
What I mean?
There is a little bit of that. I will definitely say that. But ultimately, I would say, be honest. If it's not something that's totally egregious and you have an explanation for it, if it's not crazy, you know what I mean? It's this job, you go into a lot of people's homes, you know, you're trusted with a lot of different things. You're trusted with people's lives. You're trusted to make sure the equipment's operating properly. You're trusted to do a lot of things. So if we can't trust you to tell the truth from the jump, you know what I mean? I think that looks worse on you than just coming out and saying, you know, I haven't always been a tell the truth all the time, 100% of the time kind of guy, but I've evolved as I've grown older, and I've learned that it's always best to just tell the truth, come out clean with shit. You know what I mean? Give your explanation, apologize if you need to apologize, and move on.
Yeah, and if there is some wild shit they're gonna find in your background that you know about and you're upfront with, then I would say just have some good stuff in your resume to overcome that. So
they're more
we really
apt
want
to
this guy, so we'll overlook.
Exactly.
You know?
They're more apt to look over something if you're upfront and honest with it and give your explanation and your apology or whatever. Hey, this was 12 years ago. You know, this was 8 years ago. I was a kid. It was a mistake. This blah blah blah. These are the things I've done to make sure that it doesn't happen again and improve myself as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. As opposed to nope, I never did anything. And then
they
trust
pop
me,
you.
Trust me. These background investigators are good. These are LAPD detectives that go through your background and LAPD detectives are top notch. So you definitely don't want to lie. You know what I mean? But there is a little bit of truth to what you said and not exposing too much if it wasn't going to be out there to begin with. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So good luck to you.
Yeah.
All right. Who were your heroes growing up?
Oh man.
Well,
my dad.
Yeah. You know what?
The Tom Brady answer.
When we were kids,
Yeah.
we loved the A-Team.
Yeah.
And we fucking looked up to the A-Team, right? Like, we thought the A-Team was dope.
Yeah.
And they filmed an episode of the A-Team at our house. And we did
really our neighbor's house, our next door neighbor. Remember, he got tackled.
No. But the
we were in the background.
The tackle was on our lawn, wasn't it?
No, it was next door's lawn, because they came running out from
2
3 doors
houses down,
and then tackled on the neighbor's yard where
was
I got bit by the
down?
dog. Yeah, it was 3 down with that blue door.
Down.
No. He chased him out of there and chased him down and then tackled him next door where I got bit by the dog.
Where the old white lady lived? That was the house? That where he came out of?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the point of the story was Mr. T, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Oh, yeah. So basically that's what happens. They film an episode of the A-Team at our house where, and I don't even know why it happened to be on our block. I think we lived on the other side of a small airport, a Santa Monica airport, and they had to film. Remember, for some reason on the A-Team, every episode they had to fucking fly.
Yeah.
For some reason, so they would have to knock out BA because
BA.
he was afraid to fly. Right?
You ain't getting me on the plane, fool.
So this was that. So I think that because we live by a small airport, they needed a small airport to fly. So as luck would have it, our favorite show in the fucking world. Sorry, Mom. They film it at our house, right? We're like blown away, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna meet, Mr. T.
I was face.
Yeah, dude. Dan, whenever we played, Dan was always face. I was always Murdoch, obviously. And so we were like stoked, dude. Like we have the A-Team toys, everything, right? And then they're filming on a school day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Our cousins sleep over.
Yeah.
Because we know that the set
Yeah.
is outside of our door, right? So we get up early that day. We get dressed, ready for school. We go out there, and we see Mr. T.
Boom.
And so this is still like, oh my God, we're gonna fucking meet Mr. T like in front of our
and he's
house.
full on Mr. T. All the chains,
Everything.
a green jumpsuit,
Star frame,
blue
sunglasses.
star frame sunglasses on.
Right. So we all go up to him.
Mr. T.
We all go up to him. We all go up to him. We're telling, hey, Mr. T, we love you. We want to get your autograph and everything. And we're right like 2 feet away from him. He won't even look down at us, dude. He won't even look down at us. Right? Doesn't acknowledge our existence at all. And we are right there in his face talking to him, clear as day. Nobody else talking to him. He's just standing there looking up. All right. So then his, I don't know if it's his bodyguard, his manager, whoever the guy was that was there with him, finally addresses us. He's like, look, kids, Mr. T doesn't talk to kids that don't go to school. And it's like 7 a.m., dude. All right. And we are just like,
we're like, school's not even started yet.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, our jaw just drops. Right. And like, it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Basically, dude. It was like, we were crushed.
He basically shattered our dreams.
Our hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a kid, man. Because like we watched from Rocky 3, all that shit, dude. Like Mr. T was dope.
Yeah, man.
And then.
Man, my hero growing up, I mean, Fernando Valenzuela, I was a pitcher.
Yeah.
I love the Dodgers, he was Hispanic. My number was 34 because of him, stuff like that. But I mean, really, dude, thinking back about it, I mean, at the risk of sounding corny, like I always wanted to be like Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to do good at baseball because I felt like he enjoyed that. Like I always had, Dad. Yeah, probably, man. Yeah.
See that, Grandpa too.
Yeah, Grandpa for sure. I've been posting about my grandpa. He or our grandpa. Here, let me get this angle right here.
Yeah. His anniversary of his passing.
Yeah, 17-year anniversary of his passing a couple days ago. And I posted a bunch of stuff our cousins all did. Trying to get this angle of Ben.
I talked about him on other podcasts. And, not on our show, but like on other shows that I've been a guest on.
And basically, he was like the most interesting dude you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
Like his life, being born in Tempe and just like dirt poor. And,
he was born in his kitchen.
Yeah. No, I thought he was born in Circle K. We used to always drive by when we go to, when we'd go to Arizona, we'd drive by the intersection where he was born. and he would say, "Oh, that's where I was born," but there's a Circle K right there now.
Yeah.
So for like all growing up, we thought he was born.
He was born in the store. Yeah.
But anyway, he was one of the first Latinos to go to University of Arizona. He was a journalist. He was on the radio there, all Spanish radio. Came over here. Actually worked in Washington. He was Nixon's interpreter.
Yeah, he was the Voice of America.
Yeah, he was. He worked for Voice of America. He was sent to the American Embassy in Mexico City. He was an assistant press attaché there.
Yeah,
he was
worked for Johnson. Worked for JFK.
He was the press attaché in the American Embassy in Lima, Peru. And then he came here to LA. He was a reporter for KNX Radio. He was news director and anchorman at KMEX, Channel 34. Yep. He did commentaries on CBS, NBC. So just a really interesting guy. He was inducted into the Hispanic Journalist Hall of Fame.
He was the first person.
So just a really interesting man, but most of all, he was just a super loving guy. You know what I mean? Who any time I was around him, I felt his love, and everyone around him did, and he was kind, and he was giving, and he was a mentor
super funny,
to so many.
Super smart, good cook.
And super, super smart. And so it's cool. Yeah, I always looked up to him a lot.
The other hero.
Yeah, let me put this back.
And Bo Jackson.
Oh, wait, I gotta end this. Sorry, guys, I gotta end it.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. I think we had a cool 2 second of 2 seconds of silence. Yeah. Pretty cool. Recommended for every show.
I'm getting
this one
next guest
was fun.
Okay.
As always.
Yeah. Definitely
Hot
was.
Q&A,
yeah.
Handled it.
Yeah, these are always good, man. I like them. I think it's a good idea to do these like every 10th episode, right?
Something like that.
Because we did it. I think our 10th episode was a Q&A.
Touch the fans.
Yeah, man, and get some questions. Hopefully, as we get more people listening and stuff like that, we'll get some more questions. And that's it, man.
Pretty good. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions. Thank you to everybody who listens to us, follows us, who is sharing the word. If you obviously write us a 5-star review, send us a screenshot. We will send you a T-shirt. We got L and XL. Or if you just want to buy a T-shirt from us to support the pod, $20. We got Venmo. You can find us, DM, and we'll give you the information. We also have stickers coming, other merch that we're looking at going into. Some great shows lined up. And that being said, Danny, where can they follow you?
Danny Gonzo34 on Instagram and Twitter.
All right. You can follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 Humor, like benign tumor. You can also follow the show at PRC Pod. You can email us. Contact prcpod@gmail.com if you have questions or want to tell us your story or
DM us or whatever you want.
Whatever it may be.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Yeah, I mean,
So we about to take off.
hey, please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times.